Over the past few years, numerous threats against research funding in the form of major budget cuts have been issued. President Donald Trump, since his inauguration in 2016, has attempted to cut down funding for major research institutions such as the National Institutes of Health and the National Science Foundation each year he has been in office. This can be seen in every budget proposal he has submitted as the president. Most recently, Trump's budget proposal for the 2019 year originally included a 27% funding cut to the National Institutes of Health and a 29% funding cut to the National Science Foundation. Thankfully, Congress lifted the mandatory caps on government spending to erase the planned cuts on funding, but this still shows that Trump and his Republican supporters are not backing down from their stance on research funding. Now, you may think that Trump's views on research are valid. After all, we still haven't developed a cure for cancer or a solution to the numerous environmental problems we face after decades of research. We have, however, made significant progress towards a solution to both of these issues, and I believe that we are only a couple years away from a major breakthrough, especially in the field of cancer research. As the National Cancer Institute reported back in 2014, over 2 million cancer-related deaths have been avoided in the past 2 decades thanks to the vast improvements in prevention, diagnosis, and treatment produced by research. Researchers studying cancer unveil countless new directions each day that may lead to an eventual cure, and I myself have been contributing to this effort. I recently published a paper in a scientific journal documenting the research I had done last year, where I discovered a new drug called importazole that displayed toxic effects towards specific brain cancer cells but no effect against normal brain cells. The orange bars in this graph, which was published in my paper, basically represent the number of cells that died following treatment with importazole. The A172 cells, which are brain cancer cells, died in large amounts following treatment, while the astrocytes, which are normal brain cells, had no response to this drug. Studies like the one I published can only be done with adequate funding from government agencies such as the National Institutes of Health. Without financial support from the government in the form of research grants, we cannot possibly make discoveries to progress and advance as a civilization. The National Institutes of Health are only able to allocate 20% of their current funding from the government into grants for researchers in the US. So if Trump's budget proposal for 2019, where the funding for the National Institutes of Health would have been cut by 27%, had been approved, researchers across the US would have been left with no funding to develop their projects that may turn out to be the answer to some of the biggest problems in society today. Instead of trying to cut down on research, what we should be doing is devoting as much money as we possibly can towards research with the intention of solving these issues sooner rather than later so that we can all enjoy a higher and better quality of life.